Jullian has done this before.
Yeah?
Apparently he represents himself as a woman on the phone. He tries to get close to people. Anyway, he rips people off.
How does he rip them off?
He steals things.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Did he steal anything from you guys?
No, I don't think so. Oddly enough, I couldn't find the taco sauce or the apple butter.
Well, he's always claimed that he's Ruth's kid, and he claims now that he found Dean Moorehouse up in Minnesota, and that Ruth Ann and Grandma all flew up there this weekend to go confront him, because apparently he's supposed to be married again. And so Deborah Frazier, Susan's attorney, was saying, why don't you ask Cappy whether or not she believes that that's Ruth Ann's kid, and if you did talk to her, did she give you a phone number to be able to call her back through or anything?
Well, he gave me a phone number.
He gave you hers?
No, see, he was saying, well, she's coming back out here to live in L.A.
Oh, really?
She's going to live with me.
With who?
Him.
With him?
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, I have film footage of him from TV.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
Current Affair, 1989. I saw it briefly.
Well, I don't think so. Well, one thing about it that struck me strange, Bill, and I wondered if you knew that. I figured maybe he was just trying to get, he was trying to get me to write letters or do this or do that.
Uh-huh.
I wondered if he was just trying to get something for a book or something like that,
I don't know.
Or to sell.
I don't know.
It was strange to me that I liked his friend so much better.
Oh, Al?
Yeah, I liked Al a lot.
Yeah, I do too, and he's pretty straight. He's just a kid that saved his money and asked me to take him out there. Julian's never paid me the $200 he owed me for taking him to Barker Ranch.
No, I wondered if he had put you. I thought about if I'd had a way to call you when I got it straight in my head what I thought was going on.
Yeah.
I would have called because I felt like if he skinnies up to you, it'd probably be just as good for him as anything. He stopped calling me like about a week ago or so.
Yeah.
Because he called and he asked, he was making everything checked out. See, Blue told me.
Yeah.
Blue said, are you sure that's who it is? And I said, well, I thought so, and you had said that's who you thought it was.
Yeah.
And she went, well, I saw him on TV, and I confronted him. And he said, oh, no, that's my twin brother.
When he saw Blue out there at the desert, you mean?
Uh-huh.
Did she tell you what they talked about or anything?
Yeah, she said she asked him who he was, and he said he was Ouish's son.
Yeah.
And she said, you're joking. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Anyway, I think she's right.
I think he's a little fraud in this.
I think he's a lot of fraud in this.
And I don't think I'm ever going to see $200.
Well, no, maybe not the $200, but I tell you what, I felt like telling you to keep him out of your house.
Well, I've only let him in. No, he's never been to my house.
Good.
No, he's never been here.
Well, I just thought about you and your wife. I thought,
yeah.
Just that you need some little weird rat like that.
Yeah.
Person too.
Well, did Blue come down from the hill and talk to you after we left then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She came not too long afterwards.
Oh, really?
She was going back home, wherever. But she,
I would love to have talked to her.
No, I know, but she's mad at you.
Well, she knew who I was, and she didn't want anything to do with me.
She was pretty mad about that. But she's like that.
Pretty mad about what? The Esquire magazine?
No, she wasn't mad at you about that.
What's she mad at me for?
She just figured that was par for the course.
Well, you know what's funny? I've checked the different people that was represented in that. Even Bugliolsi said, where did this guy get his stuff? He called me back last week because I had a real interesting question to ask him based upon Paul Watkins' book. And so it was funny because even Bugliolsi, he just let off cussing like a stream. And he said, who was this guy? He says he put things in there I never said, and I figured if he lied about me and Deborah and you and all this other stuff, then Sandra Good must really be ticked because she came off worse than anybody.
Yeah, well, she wasn't real ticked. She just went, were you the other person in the Esquire one? And I went, yeah. And she goes, well, did you say that? I don't think So.
Well, Jullian did tell me that she asked him up there if Onyx was you, if I brought you up there, or if you brought me up there. And
I told her that I got up there, and I told her the reason I didn't go up there that day is I had a feeling there was somebody up there. I didn't know there was my family, or if it was Sandy or something like that, but I had a feeling somebody was up there, and I knew if I took you up there, it was going to cause a problem.
Yeah?
I could feel it coming, yeah.
Oh,
So I just backed down. I didn't go.
is that why you didn't go?
Uh-huh.
You stinker.
I'm not going to go up there and piss my family off.
No.
I'm not that dumb.
No, there was no family up there at your place, but Sandra and that guy was there.
Up there, it would have worked out. She would have been pissed at me.
Yeah.
It would have looked like that's what was going on, because she already knew who Jullian was, and that upset her.
And she didn't think he's right at all.
No, she's not.
Really?
She said that a long time ago when he first came out on that TV show.
Yeah.
She had, because she keeps up with everything.
Yeah.
He just said that wasn't. He said he represented himself as Dominique.
Uh-huh.
He's Paul Watkins and Ouisch's son. Well, Paul Watkins and Ouisch didn't have a son.
Well, I told him, I said, I want to tell you something right now. Paul Watkins is not your father. I said, there is no blood of his. And he says, oh, yes, there is, because we did a blood test. And I said, Paul Watkins may have had sex with Ouisch, but you ain't the result of it. And I said, if you look like anybody, you look more like Danny DiCarlo. And I know Danny DiCarlo ran around with Ouisch. And he said, no, Paul Watkins is my father.
Yeah, well, he's not a bit, he doesn't look a bit like Ouisch, I'll guarantee.
Really? I thought from the pictures I saw of Ouisch he could.
No, she was real pretty button nose, big doe eyes. Pretty.
Yeah. Everybody tells me that he's gay.
Oh, definitely.
Really? Deborah said, when are you going to smell the roses, Bill? He's gay. Everybody that's ever talked to him said he is.
No doubt about it. He's swish.
All those little straight boys getting all kinds of education. I'm going to wake up and realize that there's a whole other world I never even knew.
Well, you can tell. You could tell about a lot of people because it's so obvious, but I've been fooled too.
Yeah?
My ex-old man had a friend who had a female voice, and he had the most feminine gestures you ever saw, and you just couldn't believe it, but he was straight.
Oh.
And, he's a big old brute welder guy with an airplane, and he sounded, you can't ever really tell, but I was sure he was, yeah.
But I liked Al. I thought he was a straight arrow, and he's just a young kid. He didn't talk much, I guess, and Jullian said, why didn't you say anything at Cathy's house? And he said, I was just observing. That's what he did.
He's a real person in there. I like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why I like him. I just do.
Yeah, he's from New Jersey.
And it struck me strange that he was the one that I liked immediately. And Jullian, I never had any real feelings for either way. He's kind of repulsive in a way.
Oh, he was telling me how great you guys communicated all night. He said he stayed up all night and you guys just talked and how great it was about the family and about Ouisch.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I know.
In another life.
I talked to Al. I listened to him, but I talked to Al.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that's...
I thought, I'm a perfect person to pull a prank like that on because I don't have any real, I don't go around being suspicious.
You should have grabbed me and smacked me upside the head and said, smell the roses. Take a look at who you brought out here. He is nobody.
I didn't know if you knew or not. And I didn't know for sure. I wanted to call you when I figured it out, but I couldn't get a hold of you to tell you because I was afraid maybe you'd get into your house,
No, he lives 30 miles away and he's never been here and I'll never let him here.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
The suggestion to me was to ask him what his birth date was and where was he born.
Yeah.
On him, that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's been investigated, so. I told this before.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
Well, even Ed Sanders warned me. He said, be careful of people who represent themselves to be family members' kids. That's all he said. And I thought, well, okay, whatever that's worth.
Why doesn't he just come out and say it? That's obviously he knew. He's Mr. Smartass, I guess.
Yeah.
Mr. Ha-ha.
Yeah, maybe he figures I'm smart enough to figure it out.
No, I think people do that just to be one-up.
Well, you know what's funny about Blue? I suspected that was her when I was standing 1 foot from her, and I reached up on the cabinet shelf, and she turned her head straight ahead, and then when I looked at her, she turned the other way. Yeah. She had that blue coat on. It was all buttoned up. I couldn't see around her ears. And I walked out, and I said, guys, The only person that would be up here putting new windows in the Barker Ranch has got to be either one of Charlie's girls or somebody that really knows something about the case. And
Actually, that house is a family house.
Yeah.
It belongs to the Barkers.
I know, but they were putting in all new windows.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I told everyone, I go, don't tell nobody that either, because they'll just tear the house down. They will.
Really?
I swear to God, yeah. If you say anything about the house, will be razed. It'll be gone.
You know, some rangers came up there and were talking to those guys while we were up at the Myers.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. Guess they're looking for PCP labs or something?
He said, yeah. Well, I mean, that's how they look, because that's where they are. They could put them out in the desert, but now they're not out there, so, I don't think there's anybody building out there. But they check anyway, periodically.
Is that right?
They've caught them out there, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. So do you think the day will ever come that Blue will talk to me? Why does she hate me? My book on Watson?
That was part of it, yeah. And you said bad things about Charlie. It upsets her when anybody says anything bad about Charlie. She gets real upset.
What did I say?
Real protective.
What did I say about Charlie?
Just the usual stuff.
Huh?
Just the usual stuff.
Yeah.
Well, it's just, I told her, well, you can't get mad at the whole world. There's nothing that can be done at this point. I mean, people may misrepresent it, but it's just what they know or think they know or what they hear, so you can't really be angry about it. She just doesn't want to cause any more problems for Charlie at all. She wants him to have an easier way. They're, pretty hard on him. The man doesn't see sunlight.
He
doesn't get out. He doesn't anything. He runs around in manacles all the time.
His hearing has been set for the 21st of April.
Yeah, because he said he wouldn't go in manacles, I'll bet you money.
Well, that's why he didn't go in February. I figured he did something to not have to go.
Yeah, he did. He refused.
Yeah. Well, I've always known that he has said that there's no way. If I got to be in chains, you can just forget it.
Yeah.
And you know what? There goes my phone. I always drop this phone. It's so slippery. It's really funny because, Watson does all the damage to people. Charlie didn't do it to anybody, and then he's got 3 kids and living a good life, and Charlie's taking around like a clown.
Yeah, that's true, but, the whole thing being in this, that, and Charlie didn't want to hurt anybody, or he wouldn't be in there. I mean, he more or less put himself in that position.
Well, you told me he came up there to be arrested with the kid.
He did it again, so I couldn't believe he was doing it. I was flabbergasted.
What are you doing here, Charlie?
Well, he just told me he was going to be there. He said he'd meet me there. And when I was there, they were bringing him down. And I felt like, well, that kind of put an end to any thought of anything. I just went, where am I going to go? That kind of ends out.
I told you I was going to get to see Susan Atkins.
Yeah.
I did. I got to see her twice.
And she's a character.
You know what's funny? I liked her.
I like her too.
Bill,
Sandy asked me, what does he want with us? Why does he keep having to get? What does he want? Why don't you send him away?
How far?
And I said, well, for one thing, I think Bill Nelson's problem is that he likes us.
Well, tell her it's true.
Well, I think you do. I think that's probably what really keeps you doing it. It's probably you're just kind of can't help it.
Well, they asked me.
Really very horrible people. We're kind of different.
Yeah, that guy up there asked me if I was doing a video and where would it come out and all this kind of stuff, and I figured that Blue asked him to ask me.
Oh no, he's got a mind of his own.
Who is he?
I don't know. He's just a nice person. I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a nice guy.
I thought that's like an E-ride at Disneyland, sleeping in the wilderness with Blue. Then that's a lark. That must be fun. But I'll tell you what. I said to him, he said he'd been up there by himself before, and I said, really? I said, well, it's better to have fellowship, to have someone with you. He goes, well, that has its drawbacks, too. And I thought, yeah, you get out of line, man.
Well, he's a real honest guy. He's funny. I like him.
Yeah, he said he had lived over Furnace Creek before.
Uh-huh.
That's funny.
Oh.
Well, is Blue back at Hanford?
I don't know.
Yeah?
When I didn't ask her. She just said she'd get a hold of me.
She said you could get a hold of her?
No, she said she'd get a hold of me.
Oh. Did she tell you about sending me a plain piece of paper folded with 2 $5 bills in it and no comment? Well, see, when I wanted to get in touch with her and you were a bad girl and gave me her P.O. box, I gave her $10 and I asked her if I could see her. And so several months ago, I got back a letter, and it just had a piece of paper folded 4 times with 2 $5 bills and no message. And I said, okay, I understand what that is. I don't owe you anything. I'm not in your debt. Now we're even. And I thought, well, that's kind of cute.
Yeah, well, she's real straight down the line about everything. And she's real upset about it. They won't let her in to see Troy. It's aggravating her.
Well, and they're not going to, because I talked to them about that, and I asked them why they can keep her out.
Yeah, there's not really any point in there just being a bit, trippy about it.
Well, the whole thing is that she had apparently tried to help a guy escape, and that's their basis. Whatever story that was.
What was that?
I don't know. There's some story. Deborah knew about it. I didn't really remember that part of it, but I could get the information on it.
And that'd be interesting to know, because it could very well be false.
Okay, I'll check that out, because that's the story that the prison put out. Anybody that tried to help somebody escape from a prison, they're not going to ever get in again.
Huh. It's really strange, because I couldn't even imagine who that would be, because, besides escaping from prison, from helping you, how?
Mm-hmm.
How would you do that?
Yeah, I don't know. Helicopter?
With a huge tractor with a big screw. Come, jump in.
That's funny.
Driving around looking for the right cell.
Oh, that's funny.
They told her, you can't because you were on parole. Well, she's not on parole.
Well, that's not a basis either, because once you're off parole, then you're clear.
That's right. Well, she knows that.
And even a person who committed murder can go back in the joint. How do you think all these religious people get in? They want to go in and teach Bible study, and they killed 14 million people, but once they're off parole, that's it. They're free to go in.
Yeah. Well, actually, they'd be the people least likely to worry about going in. Why would you worry about convicts going into the prison?
I am working on the concept of a video production, which is kind of where are they now, and kind of the story, just the whole thing. And I'd love to get Blue on there.
Well, she's probably not going to talk to you.
Well, what if she talked to somebody else?
Huh?
How about if she talks to another producer and not me? Keep me out of it with her.
Well, no, because she'll know. She's like that.
Yeah, she'll know.
Yeah.
You'll tell her? Well, tell her I'm not a bad guy.
I've told her what I can say.
And she doesn't believe that.
No.
She said he's so dumb he believes Jullian's Ouish's son.
No, she said she didn't say anything about you in regards to that. She just said she told me to keep an eye on Jullian is what she was telling me, and she asked me how come I'd pick you up to bark a ratchet out. I said, well, because I liked you, and I figured it'd be better to know you than to not, and just let things go on.
Yeah.
You develop some sort of conscience, maybe.
I'd love it. Well, if she contacts you again, tell her that I would like to have her do a video. If she doesn't want to do it with me, tell her I'll have nothing to do with her segment, and she can just do it.
I'll tell her.
Yeah.
But, I don't know when I'll hear from her. She doesn't get a hold of me very often. The only thing she do is send me a cassette tape that I asked for.
But you really don't think that Ouisch was the person who contacted you?
Remember I said there's something funny about her voice?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was the main thing that stuck in my mind from the phone call, because it lacked a certain something that would be Ouisch. It had a mature woman overtone, kind of bossy.
Yeah?
Which didn't fit.
It wasn't Ouisch.
I don't think no matter what happens, I don't think there's going to be a major change in the people that I've known. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to understand who it is. And he confused me, Jullian did. I was kind of going, well, how come I don't like Ouish's son? This is weird,
This is funny.
But I really like Al.
Yeah. Did Al give...
Particular reason.
Yeah. You should see the list of stuff that Al's got on this case. He's got the biggest library of anybody I know. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be seeing Aaron Stovitz in 2 days. He's going to interview with me. Mm-hmm. Do you remember him?
I remember the name.
Yeah. I think he got fired during the case.
Yeah, I think probably.
Yeah.
A lot of people did. The prosecutor got fired, too.
Yeah.
Bugliosi.
During the case?
Right after.
Yeah.
They could do during the case. They'd have to restart.
Yeah, I know.
And that was not going to happen.
No.
They wouldn't give him anything. They just carried the circus through to the end, and then they fired Bugliosi for lying.
Yeah.
For manufacturing.
Yeah. Well.
It's funny that didn't come around, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, I thought I'd ask about Jullian, because Deborah said, just call Cappy and just see if that was really Ouisch that called her, because Deborah just said, nothing sets in my mind as being accurate about Jullian.
No, I don't think he is. And he has a history of doing this. He's kind of like
an actor?
Not a very good one.
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's really an actor. I think he's more of on like on a real cheap con, you know. He's playing, he has a record, actually, of doing this.
Is that right?
I don't know what the exact thing is she wrote down, but it follows through.
Yeah.
He imitates women's voices. He said when he was on that TV show, if you've got the tape of that?
I don't have.
I do.
Yeah.
And it's a startling thing.
It was Current Affair, wasn't it?
I think.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I can probably get, I know one of the producers there. I can see if she'll send me a tape of that.
He represents himself as gay and Dominique, and says he's Watson and Ouisch's son. But anyway, he uses that little affectation he has there to imitate women on the phone to set himself up in some way, you know, to put it in your house.
Wow.
That's what he was trying to do with me. And the last phone call, I told him, well, I don't know, they're closing Trona, you know.
What did he want to do? Come out there and just stay at your place? Oh my gosh. You know what he told me that his mother's supposed to have said after we were up there? You ready for this? That she, oh man, I hope you're shutting down. She supposedly told him, well, I'll go up there with you this summer because I can tell you where weapons are buried, where our clothes are buried, and all kinds of stash up there. That's what he told me.
Everything that belonged to us was taken out of that thing by 1969. Everything.
I'll bet.
Everything. They cleaned the place out. Anything that looked like anything was gone.
And I'll bet you if there was anything camouflaged or bunkers or something, they would have found those too.
There wasn't any. It was just a sleeping place dug out on the side of the hill. Was that what got him started on? There was stuff up there. But there wasn't, because I had all the supplies. All you had was food.
Yeah. That's really funny that he told me that Ouisch will go back up there and...
Well, he's trying to draw everybody out, I guess. I don't know what the situation is, but I was asked, if you get a chance to talk to him, ask him where and when he was born.
Okay.
And that's all. Don't ask him nothing else.
No, I know that he's supposed to be 21. You know what I'll do? I'll get a chance to look at his driver's license. I'll tell him to show it to me.
Okay.
I'll just get a chance to see his driver's license.
That might be harder if it's not right.
I know. Well, I'm glad I called you. Deborah told me to give you a call just to find out.
Well, I have been wondering how I was going to get hold of you, and I figured, well, if Bill doesn't call again, then he was in cahoots with him.
No.
I was wondering if you knew or not. I really was.
No. Well, I've always had my suspicions. But since he conned me into taking him up there, see, Al paid me money to spend one day to go to Spawn Ranch and to go up to the Tate House and over to La Bianca's or whatever the kid wanted to do. And he sent me a money order in advance and paid for it. And I said, okay, paid my gas. And then Jullian wanted to go. And I said, nope, you're not going to go. And he goes, well, I said, you know, Al can't pay me all that I ask him to pay me. He can only pay part of it. And he says, well, what do you need? And I said, well, I wouldn't even consider going out to Barker Ranch unless you want to put up another $200 because of the gas and the time and everything else, especially in my van. And so I took him out there and put him at your house and everything else, and never got a cent.
Yeah. Well, I think he got the apple butter and the taco sauce. I think you might be kleptomaniac.
That's funny.
It is funny because, you know, I took them all out on a tray because I fed everybody.
He told me he took a magazine or something out of your place. There is something he told me he took.
Yeah, well, he took more than that. He took the fixings for sandwiches and tacos, too.
That's funny.
It is funny, but he'd probably be really easy to catch at it, you know.
Yeah.
Because he's not very clever.
Well, you tell Blue that I don't hold anything against her, and I'd love to interview with her, but I recognize that probably will never happen.
No, it probably won't, because she's you know, besides that, if I put her up to it, which I don't think I could anyway, but if I was to put her up to it, and she didn't like the result, boy, would I pay for the rest of my year.
Well, what about me? Wouldn't I pay?
No, because you don't have to deal with them.
Oh.
You can just go, oh, so.
Well, but maybe I want to deal with her.
Yeah, I know, Bill, but you're on the same basic thought that the whole general public is the murdering monsters. And it reflects on everybody.
Yeah.
You know, and the more it's stirred up, the more I have to go through, the more she has to go through, not to mention Charlie and everybody else in jail.
Well, you know, the 25th anniversary is coming up, and it's not going to go.
Isn't it?
Oh yes. Well, can we make a stamp? Yeah. Do we do Charlie with the beard or without?
Be a stomp, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I felt, I was looking at one of the old, I don't know, maybe it's Current Affair or something with Charlie, because I hadn't seen any of the footage.
Yeah.
And boy, he looked bad. Boy, he looked bad. He looked terrible, unhealthy.
I wrote him again last week.
Did you?
I asked him for an interview again.
Yeah.
And Leslie Van Houten was less than a foot from me when I went into the visiting room. I don't know if she knew me. I did not bother her. I had written her, that letter I sent you after her parole hearing. And I really thought that for me to assume that she should talk to me just because I'm standing there would be invading what little privacy she has. So I wrote her a note and told her, I said, I was close enough to touch your arm when you were saying goodbye to a male friend in the visiting room, but I just did not think that that was the time. She's not as pretty as she used to be. She was...
Well, she's probably 45 years old.
Yeah.
She's a beautiful girl.
But you see, Susan has gotten more beautiful, and is she intelligent?
Yeah.
Sharp?
I know it. That's Sadie.
Yeah.
Sadie May-Glutz.
That's right.
Man, she's a neat person. Sadie's one of the first people I was real attached to. And Sadie's full of shit, but she's all right.
Did you like Patty? Did you like Krenwinkel?
Very much.
Yeah.
I loved her and Leslie probably better than me, but those are two people I was very closest to, probably.
Well, I guess in prison you've got Leslie and Pat are much closer than they are to Sadie. They don't communicate with her hardly at all.
Well, no, Sadie's been actually, we're all in there for that.
You what?
Sadie is the reason everybody's in there.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Yes, it is. So, and they probably realize that. Plus, she goes on wild sprees of different kind of persons.
Yeah.
She'll be like that crazy murdering person that was in the cell with that lady. That lady, she may have related what Sadie said, but Sadie was just putting her on a trip.
Well, she told me that. Mm-hmm. She did. I've spent nearly 10 hours with her, and I have to say that I like her.
I love her. I love her. I do. I was real mad at her when she first put everybody in jail.
Well, I bet you were a little bit hostile. Very upset.
I got over it real quick because I watched what Charlie was feeling and saying, and I realized he was right. It's just things happen the way they happen.
Yeah.
You just got to deal with that, and you don't worry about things like that. You don't.
Yeah.
Amongst ourselves, I suppose it all works out.
Yeah. Well, you tell Blue I said hi. It was so...
I'll tell her that, and she'll be so delighted.
Yeah, it was so funny for me to stand that close to her.
Yeah. Well, she's real definite about everything, and she's real not going to back down on anything kind of person. She really is. She's very difficult. I talked to her a little bit, and she looked at me for a long time, and then she said, well, have you considered? And I thought about it, and I went, no. She kind of asked me about you, Jullian, about you bringing him, what was your trip and stuff. First, she felt me out,
Yeah.
And I said, well, I don't know. I didn't figure you had any kind of trip going there other than the obvious one.
Yeah.
And
dumb enough to believe the kid.
Well, I don't know. I didn't know. I had to think about it a while. By the time she sent me the cassette tape with Charlie on it, she had written down a few things. And she said, watch him and ask him this.
Yeah.
Because this is where the investigation ended. There was no more information. The only thing that's needed to know is his birth date and place.
What did she think of Al? Did she kind of like Al?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I just liked him. He just reminded me of somebody I'd known for... That's the way the family affected me when I moved out to the ranch. Mm-hmm. I just went to stay briefly. Mm-hmm. Because somebody's out of town, I didn't have a place. So. Mm-hmm. But Ouisch is one of the people I recognized when I first walked in, and so was Sadie. They were like people you already knew him, and that's how Al affected me. It's like I already knew him for some reason.
Yeah, I had kind of wondered with his interest in this at that young age if he couldn't be an offspring of one of the family members or something, but my wife doesn't think so.
I don't know. He looks like he's Hindu.
I hadn't thought of that.
He does.
Yeah, he does kind of look that way.
Maybe Pakistani or something.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a real pretty kid.
Yeah.
I don't think he's white. I don't think he is.
Probably not. Well, okay, you tell Blue that I said hi and that I'd love to talk to her.
All right, but
or
so tell call me, ha ha ha.
Well, I understand that.
Tell her that.
Well, I could write her again through the Hanford P.O. box.
I'm sure she'd love to hear from you.
They would forward it.
Yeah. With the whole thing being this, that she'd probably take the letter and go cussy wussy off. How dare you? And she said bad about Charlie. I mean, she's real serious about that, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I am too, but I've taken more of a lighthearted view at the whole thing because no one's going to go all of a sudden embrace him and go, oh, oops, a mistake. I'm sorry, and dust him off. They're just going to continue to do what they do.
Yeah.
She just doesn't want any more unnecessary notoriety to be turned his way.
But this case is never going to go away, and Charlie's pretty good at keeping it going, too, because he's such an entertainer.
Well, he is. Yeah, I was watching his tapes. He's funny. He just, it's so much bullshit, though, the things that come to him, the things he has to answer, and the things they say to him. There's nothing he can say that, he hasn't said 100 times.
I liked it when he went to a parole hearing, and I saw some footage from CNN News when I was in New York, and Charlie comes in, and he sits down, and this is several years ago, and he looks across the table, and he said, is this going to be just like last time, where I'm the only one required to tell the truth? That clip is the funniest.
Well, he is funny because he tells the truth, he really does.
Why is he now saying that it was a mafia hit on Lino LaBianca, and he names Frank Carvo? He told Geraldo that. He told Doug Bruckner that. Is he just?
You've got to realize the way he looks at the news media.
Is he just having fun with him?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but you have to know that he doesn't see any real purpose in anything, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay.
He talks to people when it kind of hits him to do that,
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't really have anything to say on their level. He really doesn't.
Yeah.
He just kind of would like out, but if he can't get out,
He'd like to have his guitar, and they made a rule that you can't have musical instruments at level 4, and they did that. Huh?
That's because Charlie had one.
I know.
They have a rule.
I know it, and they did that just because of his case.
I know, and it's stupid because.
Do you know what he said that was so funny to Geraldo on the uncut tape? I don't know if you saw that.
No, you never did.
I sent it to Carol.
Oh.
I sent one to Carol, and she griped about the quality of it, even though she never paid for it. So what do I care? He's talking to Geraldo. And Geraldo's camera is off. They're changing the batteries, I believe. And the prison's hidden cameras in there, which I discovered. And so Geraldo says, what do you like to do, Charlie? Is there anything you like to do? And Charlie looks at him, and he rubs his chin, and he says, well, I like to come. He says, yeah, he says, I like that a lot. I like to come. And he says, you get off a lot, do you, Charlie? He says, yeah. He says, and Geraldo said something about girls and the family and all that. And he says, fuck, I don't need those girls, man. He says, it's got all the sex I want in here. He says, but I like to come. I enjoy that. Geraldo's face.
Oh, I know it, because it is.
It was so funny.
Well, it's one of those things that's absolutely true that kind of drops everybody's drawers,
Well, yeah, because as bad as Geraldo is, and he wrote Exposing Myself, and he's laid everybody in America, and then for Charlie to look at him, he says, well, I like to come. I enjoy that. It's so funny.
Yeah, it is. It's cool. I was listening to I have a tape of him and Penny Daniels.
Uh-huh.
And he's talking to her, but she's all headstrong going one way.
Yeah.
And there are questions that he has to answer, but I know what he's going to say.
Yeah.
I see it coming,
Yeah.
And she tries another approach, and he tells her again that way. And she tries another approach, and he tells her that way. And none of it's satisfactory, to her. She's having a bad time.
Wow.
So he eventually, she says, well, what would you do if you got out? And he goes, well, he said, when I planted my fig trees at the springs, he says, I didn't know you needed a female tree. Did you know that? And he goes, there's all those fig trees out there that need a mate. He says, I want to go back out to the springs and plant a female tree.
That's funny. That's it.
He's like going, oh, come on. He's telling the truth. That's really,
That's funny.
I don't know why people followed him. She goes, they didn't follow me. I mean, everybody's following the one in front of them. I'm following somebody.
Oh, I believe Lou will talk to me someday, don't you?
I don't know, Bill.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's unequivocally just the way it is, as far as she's concerned. She doesn't like the crap. She tries to get out certain things that she can get out.
I'll tell you what, next time she contacts you, tell her we'll give her 15 minutes unedited, uncut, and she can approve of the copy that goes into the videotape. We won't contradict her. We won't say...
Yeah, but you told TJ and Lori that, too.
No, I didn't. I told them the show... I told them the show was live.
You told me that, though.
I said what?
You would be my friend.
No. On the Geraldo show?
Yeah.
I said that show is live.
Yeah.
The only thing Geraldo did that I thought was outlandish and wrong, and if I'd been TJ, I would have walked off the stage. He conned them, and I didn't know this was coming up, and he got all that footage in advance, and he said, we're going to take a look to remember the case. And TJ said, before the show started, he was telling the audience that it'll be blank for like 4 minutes. TJ says, what the hell's this all about? And the guy in the mask, what's his name? Partee. He said, no, Geraldo, you said nothing like that would happen. And he goes, yeah, and he started the cameras real quick. If I'd been them, I'd walked off the stage. Because I did not know that was going to happen. Deborah didn't know, and none of the friends of Charlie.
Surprise. But that's the whole thing was surprise. But I told TJ and Lori, that's why I wasn't going to do it. So I didn't want to be angry. I didn't see a point in it.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve any purpose.
Well, I had fun with TJ. I like him.
I like TJ, too.
I don't like Partee.
Well, Partee's all right.
No. Okay.
Well, yeah.
And I really like Carol. I know I got a problem, because I like Carol, but Carol's out to lunch.
Yeah, she is. She's way out there.
And
doing Venus and Mars.
I'll tell you a funny story about Lori. We were at the park after I found them in the park, and they had their conflict with Carol, and they were sleeping in their van, and they were fixing some food. And she was sitting cross-legged about 3 feet in front of me with nothing on underneath. And so she gets up to go get something. I can only tell you that she's a true redhead.
No doubt. She's a good one, I'll tell you.
Lori?
No.
Oh, Carol. No, I liked Ansem. There's something about her I liked.
I like very much, yeah. Lori.
Yeah, and her kids?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Oh, believe me, I've had them all.
Yes. Well, I'll let you go. I guess this is my nickel on the phone. I will try to dig out the Geraldo uncut tape if somebody hasn't stolen it from me. You know what's funny? The last time I looked for it, I couldn't find it. Now that may be what Jullian got, because I had him in my van and I haven't seen it.
Yeah, because I think he got, believe it or not, my apple butter and taco sauce.
That's funny. Little souvenir from the valley.
Yeah, or maybe he just can't afford it at his house.
I don't know.
He fills his house.
I don't know, but I'm convinced he's not who he says he is.
I don't think he is, no.
Alrighty.
And after I said something about Trona, about the plant and them closing the town down, which they're trying to get people out of here,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's going to happen today.
Well, I think it's really interesting if Blue herself said that she didn't buy it. That he was...
She didn't write off, and it took her till she wrote me to throw off whatever doubts I had.
Yeah.
Because I had expressed that.
Sure.
And she finally just wrote me and told me, well, here it is.
Yeah.
This is what we know.
I'll check that out.
Do probably.
I'll get a hold of a driver's license or something.
Yeah, because evidently he runs scams. Is what he does for a living.
I guess. Alrighty.
One thing about it, do you know what kind of mother it takes to raise a boy like that?
Well, I've always asked him who raised him, and I get different stories. He tells me that Martha Watkins raised him, and he tells me that Ruth Ann raised him. I don't know that he ever tells the same story.
Yeah, but, do you understand what kind of female it takes?
No.
To make a little gay person?
No.
It takes a very, whoa. You know those big, strong, with clicking the cleaver types?
Yeah.
With the muscles?
Yeah.
They produce those kind of...
You mean the real dominating...
Bet.
Mother. Well, Charlie said something interesting about Tex Watson. He said that I thought this was funny. He said in an interview he did, I think with Doug Bruckner, he said that Tex is an okay boy, but he said he's a man trapped in a woman, or he's a woman trapped in a man's body. Yeah. I don't know what he was saying about that.
His mother runs.
Oh, real dominating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those things, makes a little boy out of a man,
Okay. Well, listen, I'll stay in touch, and I know Blue will see me before I die.
Well, watch out. Yeah, like that's some really thing to look forward to.
Okay.
Just watch out for Jullian.
Alrighty. Okay, bye.